basically the entire political strategy of the right now is to stimulate a new satanic panic, getting people fired up to attack the trans community and increasingly just the generalized LGBTQ community as well. Last year, it seemed like the right realized that socially they had to focus their attacks on the trans community. That was the group that America's decided you can still openly attack and fearmonger about, but it really has widened. And now pretty much the entire spectrum is once again being openly attacked, both in comments made by right-wing pundits and elected officials, as well as legislation that's passing. And there really is no end to this because, would you believe, they're coming for the Trevor Project, which is literally a group that believes that there is too much suicide amongst kids, teens, young people in these communities and wants to stop that from happening. That's who's now being targeted. I want to show you a few examples of this. So it to some extent appears to have started or at least received a lot of fuel being thrown on the fire by this guy, Wright, who's a blogger who says his whole life is dedicated to combating gender ideology information. Anyway, he tweeted, the Trevor Project, a nonprofit LGBTQ advocacy organization, provides a way for children to chat with their counselors that includes a quick exit feature that automatically quits and erases your browser history to keep parents in the dark. That is then going to be spread as evidence that the counselors of the Trevor Project, which again are trying to stop people from killing themselves, are secretly grooming. They are having sexual conversations with these young people in an attempt to have sex with them. And that is why they want the chat to be immediately dissolved. Now, if you are a complete ignorant a-hole, almost full on swear there, then maybe you can believe this. And you can think that a group like the Trevor Project, there might be no other reason why someone would want to quickly erase the conversation if you don't spend even 2 or 3 contiguous seconds thinking about what those conversations are about and what is likely to be talked about there and what the consequences might be for some if their unsupportive parents see those conversations. There were not 2 or 3 seconds, not for that guy Colin, not for all of those who will now run with this, including, by the way, the Moms for Liberty, which is a group that claims to have 85,000 members with chapters in over 35 states. They then spread, why is the Trevor Project encouraging children to keep secrets from their parents? Oh, I don't know, because sometimes those parents aren't supportive. Sometimes they throw the kids out. Sometimes they beat them. Sometimes they kill them. That is a thing that happens, and the Trevor Project is trying to stop that from happening. But Moms for Liberty doesn't care about that. Michael Knowles, a guy who hasn't gone like 30 minutes over the last 4 years without thinking or talking about the trans community, and never along the way has felt the need to even meet a member of the community, try to learn about the experience or anything like that. He's talking about how the Trevor Project is sort of like a front for a pharmaceutical company that wants to drug kids for sex reassignment surgery or something. I don't know what he means, but neither does he. He doesn't have to. He doesn't have to present an actual argument. He's gonna get paid either way. So there's more on this, Brett. But they are trying to get people to attack a group that literally just tries to lower the number of suicides.
They're not pro-life. They're for death. If you're against a suicide prevention hotline, you're not pro-life. That's it. And also, I love people who make my point for me. My point is, for people who are struggling, they need someone to help them. And especially the person least equipped to help them is the person who's the reason why they're struggling. And so this is people who are the reason folks are struggling, trying to get rid of the one lifeline that they can have. And that Mom for Liberty is not for actual liberty because they won't let the kid be free to be who they are.
Yeah.
And it's this crazy notion that they have that they can parent gay out of people, which is absolutely false. Almost as false as the notion that being gay is at all wrong.
100%.
Psychotic.
Yeah. This is just convenient to them. They don't care about the consequences. They want to make sure the taxes stay low. And if along the way you got to break some eggs and the eggs are a couple more LGBTQ teens that commit suicide, whatever. That is what they're doing here. When host and whatever, I don't know, do they consider themselves activists? I don't even know. Lauren Chen tweets, left-wing activists are predatory groomers. If you sit around designing and promoting ways to get in touch with kids so you can discuss sexuality and keep it from their parents, you are a groomer, period, full stop. Well, no, the only thing that had full stop was your thoughts. You didn't think about this at all. She doesn't know what the group does. She certainly doesn't care what the group does. These counselors are trying to stop the kids from killing themselves, for you to then present them as trying to commit acts of pedophilia it should be unimaginably disgusting, but it has been so normalized. When Elon Musk called the guy who saved those kids in the cave pedo guy, remember that everybody agreed that was weird? It's only been a couple of years, and now it's the most normal thing in the world. You just make these claims, you don't have to know anything, you don't have to think anything. As a quick aside, by the way, these people they have a couple things in common. They are absolutely obsessed with this community, despite having no knowledge about it, no compassion for it, anything like that. And the interesting thing is too, I haven't necessarily worked with a lot of these people, but I have done panels with both Michael Knowles and Lauren Chen. And I will tell you that Michael Knowles behind closed doors, I keep telling you, in the green room, randomly was bringing up the trans community. It was super weird. In both cases, once we got an air, they were meek as kittens. Like they were so nice. It's all the anonymity. You can tweet hateful nonsense that'll get people killed, but when you're actually having to sit down next to someone who's gonna be a vigorous defender of compassion and empathy, they were the most agreeable people in the world. I was on a panel with Lauren Chen. I wouldn't have even come away thinking she was conservative after it. But when they get online, when they're on Twitter, then all of a sudden they're big lions. They're all roaring their hate. It's ridiculous.
Michael Knowles is the dumbest. Michael Knowles is thoroughly the biggest moron. I did a video, there's a compilation, I think it's on Rebel HQ, where it's like a compilation of Michael Knowles' job is to sit there and basically squirt Jergens into Ted Cruz's hands so he can beat himself off. That's his whole function on the right, is to sit there on Ted Cruz's show, The Verdict, and be like, squirt, squirt, now make yourself feel good, Ted. And Ted's like, I'll have a fart thing in my Tesla, so my kids can make fart sounds. What the hell is anyone doing?
Yeah.
All of it is so stupid. All of it is so ridiculous. It's anti-freedom, it's anti-life. It is absolutely pro-masturbation, but in like a generic scornography and masturbation sense. It is the fact that they are attacking a suicide prevention hotline and calling it groomers. Groomers has no word. If you no definition anymore. If you encounter a right-wing person saying the word groomer, I want you to spam them with photos of dogs that have just gotten haircuts with little bows in their hair. Be like, this is the worst groomer. This groomer is attacking Fluffy. Morons.
Anyway, of course, this is serious. Hopefully, like they have shut down organizations before. I mean, in this case, I don't believe that the Trevor Project relies on like government, like either state or federal government funding. So maybe it'll be a little bit harder for them. But can they make life a living hell for the people behind the Trevor Project, those working it? Certainly. Can they cause death threats to be rained down on them? I'm sure that's already happening. So a lot of fun. Jesse Kelly, Lauren Chen, Michael Knowles, great movement you've got there. I am sure you have very nice houses. I'm sure right-wing billionaires have provided you with very nice places to live while you do this, and reliable paychecks. You're gonna do just fine monetarily. And maybe at some point in your life, when you're laying down in your fancy big bed, you will briefly wonder, you'll have been trying to block this out for a long time, but it might slip in your brain. Did someone die because of the tweet that I sent out? Did I participate in encouraging people to take their own lives? I really, truly hope that they are haunted by those thoughts.
When your goal is for people to issue death threats to a suicide prevention hotline, you really need to re-examine your life choices.
For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thedamagereport. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.